Wait for it to catch up. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us for Sunday Night Live, episode 117. We are here on this journey this evening to explore new topics and strange new interactions. Not on that weird side of YouTube. I've delved into it far too often, and I came back a different man. We're not going to be posting any articles that's going to get us taken down again, because I know what it was. Because of the selfie article, and there were certain images on there, I didn't think it was going to be a problem, but the algorithm had a different perspective to it. So, before we get on any further, good evening to Ms. Gwyn, good evening to Commander Retro, and good evening to Commander Co-92, and good evening to Lieutenant Dan. I've been feeling a little sad after hearing Kairi Sane may be leaving the WWE. I have heard about this.
Thank sweet, merciful God!
She deserves so much better.
Instead of getting destroyed by Nia Botchzilla Jax. So there's my thoughts.
Sean says, looks like the aliens didn't come and kill us all. I didn't realize there were any.
What, was that another doomsday prophecy?
Harold Camping.
I think he was making a movie reference.
Oh.
Oh, God.
Independence Day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my neighbors had like a big projector out front on their yard and were watching it on their deck.
Oh, nice.
Hey, Wen.
Hello.
Dan says, it's not fair that a talented woman like Kairi Sane is treated horribly and idiots like Nia Jax gets to stay. One word
Let's see. Oh, sorry.
One...
I've been holding on to this for a while, but I need to get on my chest.
Go on.
The Rock. All you need to know.
I was just about to say something similar to that. It's like, Dan, one word. Nepotism. Kind of like the sort of thing that, how Stephanie's able to get away with so much ills, whereas Raiden is like, lady, I have a lifetime subscription to Vels. It's even going to dwarf, Paul Feig's list. He's on 5,092. You're on 5 million.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, there's a huge truckload of elves heading Feig's way as we speak. At least that's what I've heard from Zen Master.
Yep.
And to sweeten the pot, if I may interject, the Overlord is driving the truck.
Also, Adam Wofford. Wow, there's a name I haven't seen in a while. The US military released a report saying they have alien task force last week. Whilst Gwyn is also mentioning this, celebrated 4th of July with my mom, her friends, and my friends yesterday. Granted, this is a day late, but to those that are listening in the live stream and you happen to be living in America or happen to be American citizens living abroad, happy 4th of July.
Yeah.
I remember one of my buddies saying one time when I put up a picture on my Instagram about when did I do this? 2 or 3 years ago, he says there's something not quite right about an Englishman celebrating 4th of July, and I'm like, most of my friends are American, and I even said in the post to my American friends across the pond, happy 4th of July. What's wrong with that?
People tend to unfortunately glaze things over, and while meaning well to make a minor correction, still kind of take a post out of context. Not shaming them. Sometimes it just gets glossed over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, as Raider would say, some people petty.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Mind you, I'm going to get us onto something a little bit more positive. And before I do that, I'm going to need to tone the jazz down. That's it. Just so that everyone can hear me. Although we've covered this once or twice before, this has to be said. Friday, Back to the Future turned 35.
Wow.
Nice.
From MovieWeb.com, Robert Zemeckis' sci-fi classic Back to the Future was released in theaters 35 years ago. On this day in cinematic history, Back to the Future hit theaters. While there are plenty of movies worth celebrating when an anniversary comes around, this is near the top of the mountain when it comes to truly timeless and beloved cinematic classics. With that, it's not surprising to discover that director Robert Zemeckis' blockbuster began trending on Twitter as movie lovers shared their love for the movie all these years later. Leslie Zemeckis, documentary, filmmaker, model, and wife of Robert Zemeckis, tweeted a brief video celebrating the anniversary. Legendary poster artist Drew Struzan also shared an image of an ad from a newspaper that features the now iconic one sheet for the movie. Star Leah Thompson, how you doing? Who plays Lorraine, shared a timely image that makes a joke about the rough year 2020 has been, comparing her character from the first movie and Back to the Future 2. Thompson shared the image with a sincere caption. Happy 35th birthday to Back to the Future. I am so grateful to have been part of so many people's lives. The movie proved to be a tremendous hit in its day. It grossed a staggering $381 million at the global box office. The time-traveling tale of Doc Brown, played by Christopher Lloyd, and Marty McFly, played by Michael J. Fox, resonated in a way few movies ever have before or since. The official Back to the Future Twitter account celebrated the occasion with the following message. Today in Hill Valley history, Back to the Future opened in 1,420 theaters across the US on its way to becoming the biggest film of 1985. Back to the Future 2 and 3 were released in 1989 and 1990 respectively. The sequels have earned plenty of love over the years, but they simply can't match the magic of the original. The Amblin Road Twitter account posted some images from the version of the movie that featured Eric Stoltz. For those who may not know, Stoltz was originally cast in the role of Marty McFly before being fired from the project went well into production. Michael J. Fox was brought in to replace him, and the rest, as they say, is history. The images of Stoltz were shared with the following caption. In an alternate 1985 timeline, this is the version of Back to the Future that is celebrating 35 years today. Do you hope we will get to see the Eric Stoltz cut one day? Well, it won't be the whole thing, because it was only like 5 weeks worth of shooting. There has been some talk of Back to the Future 4 over the years. No. But nothing has ever materialized. We also recently learned from the Tom Holland that discussions of a remake reboot took place at some level. Luckily, it sounds like he has no interest in messing with history. We will be getting a Transformers Back to the Future crossover soon, so that will have to suffice. Rarely can a movie claim itself as perfect, but Back to the Future is probably as close as it gets. You can check out some of the collected Twitter posts below, and it's just basically recanting a lot of the stuff that I've already mentioned, although I do like this one from AJ Lacasio. Back to the Future is 35 years old today. No amount of words can express how much it means to me to be a small blip in the timeline of this legacy and to have momentarily taken up the mantle of Marty McFly alongside Doc Brown and Michael J. Fox. Far out, your friend in time, AJ. Time's a relative thing when you own a DeLorean that's a tricked out time machine, but we're proud to note Back to the Future marks its 35th anniversary today. Join us in toasting a Pepsi free to the cast, crew, the two Bobs, and the fans of this Amblin. Oh wow, even Joseph Gordon-Levitt posted one. Happy 35th anniversary to the greatest of all time. Damn.
Wow.
This whole bunch of people, it just goes on and on and on at this stage, but you know, it just seems with each year it either pretty much remains the same, or it just simply strengthens with the passage of time. I mean, I remember seeing this many years ago when I was over at my grandmother's over in Maidstone. I remember seeing glimpses of it, but it didn't really make too much sense to me until many, many, many years later. I saw it for the first time on DVD round a buddy's house, and it started gelling with me just a little bit more, because by that point I was like late teens or early 20s, so the mind was more than well enough developed by that point. But I don't think I truly latched onto it properly until I saw the trilogy, a complete trilogy box set from, and this is going to make Steve feel somewhat distinguished, back when Virgin Megastores used to be a thing.
Oh yeah.
I happened to be I had watched one movie that particular Sunday. Not to go into too much of a personal thing, but one of the things I would do around 2006, after my mother was unfortunately diagnosed with multiple myeloma, which is a form of cancer you don't want to go anywhere near. One of the things that she would tell me to do is treat every day as normal. So you go out and do your usual things, so that I'm not worrying over you, worrying over me, worrying over you. So, you know, Dad and company looked after her. I went out and did my usual thing, because her perspective was, if he's out enjoying himself, I can relax and just do my thing. So it might have even been after watching Nacho Libre, which very underrated movie I might add, but I'm getting off the point here. Happened to be walking through Virgin Megastore, and there was the trilogy on DVD for like pittance. I think I probably picked it up for like £20 to £25, which for a trilogy on a box set back in the day, that was a steal. So sat down and watched it. I remember sort of thinking, I'm remembering certain things from when I first saw it as a child and then as a teenager, but by that point I was mentally mature enough to understand certain nuances that was going on, because it's like I say so many times before, when you're like 8 years young and you watch the first Ghostbusters movie, the exchange between Peter Venkman and Dana Barrett of, oh, that's the bedroom, but nothing ever happened in there. What a crime. When you're 8, you're like, what? When you're like 18, you're like, oh. It's like, I get it now.
Yeah. That tends to happen a
Yeah.
lot with old movies when you're a kid.
And
Like, what the hell does that mean? It's all of a sudden,
and it's certain things like, particularly when I did the 34th anniversary retrospective, where Win and I kind of highlighted what Marty's mom was doing wrong when her teenage version placed her hand on Marty's knee. It's like, incest is not wincest! I think what makes the movie work so well is that there's a little something for everyone. Because Kaiju said something to the effect of, there are people that watched this in the 80s that, who were probably just becoming parents, they could relate to what was going on. Whereas, kids, parents that were kids in the 80s look at this now and feel like, I can relate so much to what's going on. And the other thing that I found that they did things tastefully. When they had the moments in the 80s, not the 80s, the 50s, you would have some of like the sort of things that were socially acceptable, but they didn't go too far with certain bits and pieces, like when you have Lou, the cafe manager, addressing Goldie Wilson by saying, that'll be the day, you ending up at mayor. Whilst what the line that was said in the movie probably wouldn't be that socially acceptable today. At the same time, they had something that was reflective of the 50s, but did it in a way whereby you see what he's doing, but they're not going completely over the line. If anything, they're just tiptoeing up to it and just stopping there, because the first movie was a PG, so there's certain things that you can and can't say. It's particularly like this exchange, and I'm not going to go saying it on live stream, folks, because you know how sensitive the algorithm is, but it's like when you hear this. Hang on, typing as quickly as I can. Unfortunately, it doesn't help that my fingers get butterfingers. Because you can't really say that. Not today.
Oh!
Yeah.
I remember that.
Because even Random, when he did his reaction and review to it, he just says, fighting inappropriateness with inappropriateness, and I'm going to stay well away from that. But, like I say, they were kind of... Oh yeah, absolutely, Dan, I would vote Goldie Wilson 2020, just so you could hear... Mayor! And I remember him saying during the Back in Time documentary, he said if he could have a penny for every time someone asked him for that, he'd be a millionaire by now. But I think what is truly the heart of the movie is the friendship between Doc and Marty. I mean, if the movie was being made today, there'd probably be some things changed, because back in the 80s, the idea of a kid at 17 years young hanging out with a crazy scientist would be looked upon as like, Mr. Zemeckis, where are you going with this? But back then, it's just like, if you have somebody who's cooking up all these kooky gadgets, wouldn't you want to find out what makes him tick and all that jazz? And there's just instant chemistry between Michael and Christopher. It's almost like they're, I don't want to say kindred spirits, but they're almost like, longtime friends. And I like the exchange in part 3. It's where he goes, Marty, you gotta change those clothes. You walk around town like that, you're likely to get shot or hanged. Who other idiot dressed you in that outfit? You did. And of course, everybody knows that they dressed him up in that, the pink shirt and the red cowboy jeans, which, if you look back at, photos from that era, nobody dressed up like that. It was just the 50s depiction of it, but you don't get casting like that anymore. You sure as heck don't get writing that everything's so tightly knit that everything, because they actually use the script in a lot of filmmaking classes about setup and payoff. And also, possibly one of the best scores for any movie I have ever had the privilege of hearing in my existence. And on paper, the DeLorean is not the most practical nor the most functional car, and DeLorean was already out of business by the time 1985 rolled around. Yet at the end of that movie, everybody wanted to get a DeLorean and to hit 88 miles per hour. Back to the Future, I hold in the same regard as the first Iron Man, the first Jurassic Park, and, at the moment, the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie as being truly a magical experience, because it's never aged. Not one day. The only things that date it a little bit is some of the politics that are talked about, but it's only like mentioned in like passing of what like, you know, is current event news at the time. And when you see the size of, you know, Doc's camcorder, I mean, nobody has a camcorder that big. I mean, a camcorder now is probably about no longer than the length of the palm of your hand to the tip of your fingers. So thankfully camcorders have come a long way since then, and you don't have to put tapes into them anymore.
Technology.
I love my old Samsung from back in the day, don't get me wrong, but I'm glad I switched up to digital because here's the thing, tape runs thin after a while. But then again, there was once upon a time where they thought VHS was the future. Ha! But I could ramble on, and I'm known for doing it. But I think Back to the Future is one of those movies. It's going to be talked about and beloved possibly 150 years from now.
Absolutely.
Because you just don't get performances like that anymore. And, you know, when you have, you know, the great script, brilliant performances mixed in with Alan Silvestri's perfectly timeless score, you know, it's like I said for the retrospective for part 3, the score is like a character in that movie, because to this day, whenever I watch the clock tower scene when he's literally racing to the future, even though you've seen it possibly hundreds or thousands of times before, you always start cheering him. I was like, yeah, Marty, go for it! And just to that moment where he's gone back to 85 and the Doc's just in quiet shock, there's something quite satisfying about hearing him break the silence with his cheering, and then the score kicks back in. It's just like you feel like you accomplished something with him, because it's like he got to see his accomplishment come to life. And here's the thing, it didn't click with me until many years later when I was reading a couple of comment sections. Marty was always worried that he would never get to play high school prom, yet he did at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance when he coincidentally invented rock and roll. And then started going a little bit crazy by, you know, impersonating Bon Jovi, Jimi Hendrix, and possibly a little bit of Huey Lewis and the News there, because Huey Lewis and the News were, you know, his musical idols in the movie. And I just find it so ironic. Huey has a cameo, says, "I'm sorry, sir, but you're just too darn loud." I'm like, it's the art. It's like, this coming from the guy who was pretty much high on rock and roll in the 80s. Okay. I see what you're doing, movie. But they say it's a near perfect movie. I think it is a perfect movie because I can't find any fault with it. Even after all these many years later, it still feels as fresh and relevant today as it was then. And on some of a personal note, I wanted to be Marty McFly when I was growing up, because Marty was that kid you always wanted to be. You know, guys wanted to hang out and have coffee with him. Girls are like, hey you, how you doing? Which Win would probably go, hey, Marty. Hey. Whereas Liz would be going, Marty, Jennifer. Because a lot of people liked Claudia Wells as well. I mean, she was quite sweet on the eyes, and might I add, still is. I don't know why people rag on Elizabeth Shue. I mean, I thought she was decent, because she kind of got thrown at the deep end, and what a lot of people forget is Claudia had to back out because her mother was going through cancer at the time. And she put family first, and I respect that completely. But, like I say, classic movie, still feels so fresh, and you know, I always find it rewarding whenever I introduce somebody to this movie. It's just like, and they go to me, "What's Back to the Future?" I'm like, hold up. I was like, hold me back. It's like, what? Say again? It's like, what's Back to the Future? It's like, okay, go on to Netflix now. Spend 2 hours watching it. Trust me, you'll thank me. But, yeah. It's one of those very few movies I have nothing constructively negative to say about it whatsoever. Modern movies, how long have you got? Yeah, but I love it. Of my all three all-time favorites, the other two being the first Iron Man and Jurassic Park, I would say Back to the Future and Jurassic Park are my joint favorites, but I lean towards Back to the Future. It's like, I love me Jurassic Park, don't get me wrong, but they got a DeLorean! Time-traveling one too! So, yeah, I've rambled on long enough. Steve, your thoughts on the fact that it's endured 35 years later. Where were you introduced to it? What did you think of it? And are those thoughts now the same as when you were first introduced to it? Or is it better since then?
Well, for me, I was introduced with the Back to the Future franchise with the third movie. No, it's not the orthodox way to start it, but it was one of the first movies I remember seeing on ITV back in the 90s. Then I ended up watching a recorded version of it that my family recorded sometime afterwards, and then when they were doing a 3-week trilogy, when they were playing the films one after another each week, I ended up watching the second movie there. And it's as you said, MJ, it's one of those cult classic 80s films that just always is able to capture the love and hearts of the audience.
Absolutely.
There's not much I can say that can top it.
When I know we've heard your thoughts on the movie a few times before, but obviously this being somewhat of a pivotal milestone for the franchise, do you still have a lot of love for the first movie to this day?
Hell yeah, and I still want Marty's hoverboard.
So do I.
Don't we all?
I still want that self-drying jacket, damn it! Although, the two ties, part 2, you can keep that. Don't want that. No. We definitely don't want the fashion sense of Griff's gang. I was like, remember this one image popping up on Facebook, like a day before Back to the Future Day in 2050. It goes, just a gentle reminder, people, this is how we're supposed to dress a day from now, and I think someone put like as a GIF response, oh hell no.
But they never had those self-tying shoes.
I would like those.
See, here's the thing. They did become a reality, and they did have them in the form of the Nike Power Mag laces from part 2, but you could only buy them through auction on Michael J. Fox's Parkinson's charity eBay page. But to be fair, each of them netted a profit of $5,000 a time, to my understanding. And all the proceeds went to his charity. So I'm glad to see that happen, but still would have been so cool just to go into a store, pick up a replica from that, and then just feel the laces tightening into place. It's just like, okay, I just picked up a piece of movie memorabilia. That's awesome. And there was that very brief time they were selling Pepsi Perfect. And very cheekily, they were selling it for $20.15. I'm like, okay, Pepsi, I see what you're doing. Lids, same question.
Again, like Steve, I didn't follow it in order. I actually experienced Back to the Future Part 2 first beforehand, and I love the movie. First of all, I love the franchise, and the fact that it's a cultural touchstone now. You can't think of movies about time travel without thinking about Back to the Future. Even the ones that are self-parody. Hell, Rick and Morty is basically inspired by Back to the Future. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Well, then again, the Doc is a little bit better than Rick Sanchez and a lot more stable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, again, this franchise has had like a touchstone on pretty much everything in pop culture, and again, it deserves the praise that it gets. My hat's off to it.
Raiden, floor's yours, man.
I like a lot of people. I really didn't follow the movie, but with everything, I always give respect for what has done for mainstream media as a whole. So. And one thing, way back in the day, I still own Back to the Future Part 3 on VHS.
Oh wow.
That's how old I am, ladies and gentlemen.
No one is old. No one is old. No one is old, my friend. We either get mature or distinguished.
Right. But over the years, like, I've watched a lot of good stuff from movies that I don't really, have a special place for people. Like, of course, the Back to the Future animated series. I thought that was pretty fun to watch when I was back then. And for wrestling purpose that I just posted in here, I'm happy to say it inspired one of my favorite wrestlers in Kushida from New Japan, now in NXT, which is basically his gimmick, known as the time splitter.
Isn't this the same individual that actually came to the ring in a DeLorean?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. Way back. I forgot what the year, but yeah, it was a Wrestle Kingdom. Him and his partner Alex Shelley came out in the DeLorean.
Co92 says, for me, my introduction to Back to the Future was from the original theme park ride from Universal Studios. I've seen videos of somebody's perspective on that. Looked awesome.
So yeah, in closing with this franchise, is like, I'm happy that its has turned 35. I'm glad it still has an impact with everyone. And if I wanted to own like memorabilia, definitely the hoverboard, definitely Marty McFly's whole gear, and of course some shoes. Some shoes apply to me. So
Oh yeah.
yeah. So happy 35th. Hope to go through more and with another legacy. Not a live action movie, but yeah, just keep the series and up with a lot of good things. And so far with Transformers: The Back to the Future, which is people say you don't see coming, but with Transformers, they can basically collab with anyone at this point. So
Oh yeah.
with stuff like that, how the legacy continues. And happy 35th.
Speaking of which, I posted an article which did a full reveal of the figure.
Looks good.
I think-
Looks really good.
Oh wow.
And I will say that Random actually called the name of this one Gigawatt.
That's clever.
Wait till they do a masterpiece version of this.
I believe it's made from the Siege Sideswipe mold.
Oh, that's cool.
And from what I've heard in the news, it was a Walmart exclusive in America. They did 1,985 of them, each specifically with a different number.
And also, I can confirm that I can't give the exact date, but according to one article I looked up a while ago, Back to the Future is coming to 4K this October, almost 10 years to the exact day since it came out on Blu-ray for its 25th anniversary. Because like I said, by 2010 I'd already had the trilogy on DVD, which, DVD's been perfected. There's not really much more you can do to do it better, but, at the time when I heard, wait, the trilogy's coming to high definition, it's like, okay, let me just quickly go reserve that right quick. But knowing that it's coming to 4K, I'm wondering this time, do I go for box set or do I wait for exclusive steelbooks? To quote Megatron, yes. But nah, I'm glad that's coming to 4K because it just means it's being preserved for posterity even further. And getting to just have the details just that sharpened, just that little bit more. The only thing I would actually like to see done, I know it's too late to do this for the 35th, but for the 40th anniversary, can we get a next-gen Back to the Future game, say, done in a very similar... Now, when I use this particular gaming series, not to make this exactly like the tone, but in terms of the production quality, what if you could get a Back to the Future game where you could actually control the time travel sequences and done with a graphic engine and playability akin to that of Grand Theft Auto? Because, don't get me wrong, I love what Telltale Games did. I love what they did for the game, where Marty goes back in time to help Doc in the 30s, but you didn't get to control the time travel sequences. You want to be able to actually, have a handle on it, and not everybody's a fan of point and click. So, I don't know. But if they ever do a 40th anniversary, I want it to be done in a way whereby you control where you want to go throughout time, and you can actually get to drive the DeLorean. Because in the Back to the Future game, yeah, it's cool to see them still do what they do, but it's just, it's just, movie footage at that point. You actually want to be able to get your hands on the wheel and what have you. But that's what I'd like to have done. I mean, Frontier Developments finally gave us the most perfect Jurassic Park game with Jurassic World Evolution, where you get to control the theme parks, even returning to Jurassic Park as a DLC, which, by the way, I love the shit out of that. I love being able to tour the park and what have you. But like I say, we need, that definitive Back to the Future game, and not something that the angry video game nerd will chew it out to pieces years later, because he didn't have any nice things to say about the one where the majority of it is just skateboarding and nothing else. It's like, no, come on. Have the time travel sequences, because that's what you have it for. I think I'd be interested to see what exclusives they have with the DeLorean collectibles, because back in the day, before everything started going plastic, I started collecting a couple of DeLorean scaled models, simply because, why not? I'm a nerd. I'm not afraid to to admit that aloud. I mean, say what we will about how The Big Bang Theory has been in the last 6 to 7 years before they called it a day. Around 2007, when that came around, seeing the way that Sheldon and Leonard acted in front of Penny with the awkwardness and the knowledge of movie and useless movie trivia, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm a nerd. Why did I not admit this to myself all these years ago? Although some people have compared me to Sheldon, I'm like, oh hell no.
No.
Oh hell no. I'm probably more like Leonard. I'm certainly nothing like Howard. Oh
dear.
No.
No.
That's not.
Personally, I'm kind of sort of. Personally, I'm more like Leonard. To me, he's always been the more sensible of the group.
Yeah.
I just like the time when he got exposed for dating Roger's sister, and all he said was like, I was just nothing but a forbidden piece of white chocolate.
Oh.
Although some of the stuff they do at Raj's expense, it's like, you can't
Maybe doing it as dirty.
Yeah, they can't do those jokes today, and
Oh no.
and Penny in the first couple of seasons with her, she's nothing but a straight up savage.
Yeah.
Goes, have you ever been told how beautiful you look like in Flawless Russian? No. Goes, then just does it, goes, no, get used to it. No, I don't think I will. Although the one line I did like from him was when Sheldon is, racking his brain over how Penny managed to guess which card Howard had on him, and his basic rebuttal is, just believe in magic, you muggle. And I'm like, okay, I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan, but it's like, okay, I actually kind of like that. That was actually kind of good. But I did notice over time, I don't know what it is about the Penny character, but I kind of went off her over time, especially when, after she moved in to the apartment, she literally threw out all his stuff in his apartment and just redecorated how she wanted. It's like, Penny,
That's a red flag right there.
I mean,
That's something I can't stand, being a collectible type guy.
yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
in relationship, there's a little thing called give and take. He wanted you to move in. Doesn't mean to say he's got to get rid of everything that he had. I mean,
Yeah, that kind of reminded me of the movie Think Like a Man. There was Jerry Ferrara's character. He had like half of all of this stuff. His stuff getting what's the word? Not be in the house, and he just replaced it all with this like artsy crap. That I don't like that at all.
Oh no.
It just shows me like you don't have respect for what I have. Like, I respect something you have, but you don't. If you don't see that like it's kid stuff, like okay, that will work, you know.
here's the thing. Not being an agony uncle or a expert on relationships, but I like to think, my 2 cents is worth something on occasion. If you have somebody that you want to move in with, and you don't happen to like that the way they have things in their house, first of all, they have invited you to move in, right? They also have the right to be able to tell you to go 86 out of here if things don't go the way that either side would want to go. I mean, let's just say for the example, let's just say I moved in with Win, just say for the sake of discussion, and all of a sudden, I don't like the way you have your sitting room. I need to change it to have all my stuff. She'd be like, "You're living here, mister. My rules. Don't like it. There's the door." Give and take. It'd be like
Yeah,
Go on.
And I'd find a good way to
that's like
compromise.
if I went into. That's if I move in with Oni and all of a sudden I start throwing all his gunplas. I would be dead. He has played a lot of money for those things. I would be buried in the backyard.
My train of
What?
If anything, I'd come up with a good compromise so we'd both be happy. If anything, I'd save up and get us some nice shadow boxes to keep everything nice and on display.
My train of thought is, let's just say that I got lucky on the lottery and I finally did get myself that nice penthouse apartment. I'd be like, right, here's how this goes. You are free to do anything you want with the second spare room, but the kitchen, my bedroom, my lounge, my office, off limits. You don't go in there and mess my stuff up, especially my green screen room. No. That's especially off limits. That's how I go to make YouTube videos. YouTube videos are fun. So yeah. Some argue, could the series have gone on a little bit longer? It probably could have, but the actor who plays Sheldon wanted to go on and do other things with his career and his life, and that's not unreasonable, because Jim Parsons obviously has things that he wants to do, and he doesn't want to be typecast as Sheldon for the rest of his life. And it's not like Johnny Galecki can't do other things, because he was the boyfriend of the eldest daughter in Roseanne all those years ago. So he'll move on to something else. Although
I mean, he technically did move on. Went back to the role of David and Roseanne, actually.
All right.
Until it got canceled.
Yeah, and then it was the Connors, and then yeah.
I don't know if that's even still on the air because I don't really like it.
It got renewed. It technically did.
And also, in the last ever episode, Raj got a date with Sarah Michelle Gellar. I'm just like, what?
Lucky
What?
son of a bitch.
I know. Oh yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar showed up as his date in the last episode, and you actually see Sheldon goes, "Is that Buffy the Vampire Slayer?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm just like, Raj, you lucky son of a bitch, walking God's green earth right now.
If I was watching that, I would have done a spit take.
Because has to be said, folks. Because Sarah Michelle Gellar, I think, is 41. Girl has looked after herself.
Yeah.
Freddie Prinze, you lucky son of a bitch. Mind you, can you believe that he was actually a producer for SmackDown at one time?
He was.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, she's actually 43.
Jeez.
Also,
Whoa.
a funny thing about Freddie Prinze, and I learned this by watching Dead Meat's kill count of I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Mm-hmm.
He was the guy that was behind. Well, he actually gave the idea that give Jeff Hardy the WWE title at Armageddon 08, and
Really?
the rest is history.
Oh.
Wow.
Wow.
And I think he voiced Caden in Star Wars Rebels.
Oh, I did not
He
know
did.
that.
He was. Yeah, he was.
And I think Sarah Michelle Gellar voiced one of the Inquisitors.
Yeah, she did.
And she also voiced April O'Neil in TMNT.
Yeah,
Yes.
I actually liked her as April.
yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
She had that sassiness as April. Not to say there was anything ever wrong with Veronica Taylor or the voice actress that they had for her in 2012, and we all love and of course we all love Renee from the original 80s series. There's actually this one cool YouTube clip. Let me see if I can actually find this a second. Let me see. Because they actually did this thing many years ago where they're like wishing this one guy well. No, that's not it. It was only like a very short clip. It's just a question of being able to find it, and I think it's just buried under so many years of all sorts from YouTube. I'll have to bring that out at some other stage. And also, that reminds me, what actually happened to Rise of the TMNT? Did it just sort of fizzle out and just disappear?
I have no idea.
I think
I
that's
stopped caring about that. I stopped caring about the show months ago. I mean, it's not a slight to the show itself and the people behind it, but like, I don't know. It ain't for me. Even though I do like Kat Graham as April, she's pretty sassy.
But it was just like, I mean, Random and I actually managed to get through the first episode. It's a similar sort of art style and tone from Teen Titans Go, and that just rubbed us the wrong way. I mean, Raph as the leader, okay, it's a little different, but Leo wasn't acting like Leo, and you know, of all people, as the new villain, which might have been one from the comics, I don't know, but of all people, you get John Cena as the voice actor for that. I don't know. I just didn't... There are certain times where a wacky tone is appropriate for what you're looking to do. So something like Samurai Pizza Cat, where it's completely lampshade, it's fourth wall breaking, it's wacky, it's balls to the walls crazy, that works. With the Ninja Turtles, they break the fourth wall, but it's very subtle. It's like maybe like once or twice an episode, whereas with this one, it was trying to do it constantly. It's just like, okay, you're trying to be like Deadpool fusing with Teen Titans Go. Please stop that.
Haven't we had enough Deadpool clones?
I mean, that'd be like... Oni being a fusion of Deadpool, but with like insufferable humor, like Teen Titans Go. It's like me and Lydia are gonna be showing a vacation video, and right here you can see the description where you can look at this later, and it'd be like, Oni, stop that right now. It just doesn't work. I mean, think of something really obscure. That'd be like if they made a parody video of NWA breaking the fourth wall. I mean, Ray, did you be like a guy? Get that off my screen right now. It's just some stuff that just don't work. And Rise of the TMNT, I didn't watch it beyond the first episode. The only ones I ever watched, more or less, all the way through, the original series, most of 2003, because 2003 was the decent successor, and plus it made us forget about a show that Wynn does not want mentioned. She knows what I mean. And then, of course, it gave us the 2012 series, which was like a fusion of 87 and 03, but it was leaning more towards 87. Only because I think it was like the 25th anniversary of that series by that point, so... Plus, the Easter eggs in that show was... I lost count after a while, but it did it in a way where it's very subtle. You know, it wasn't completely obnoxious and in your face. And also, the look on Mikey's face and his brain reacting when he tries pizza for the first time, I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah. His mind's completely blurs, like, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. And, the first Turtle series where one of them actually tries to sort of establish a relationship with April, which I'm like, okay, I see we're going there, okay. And to Rob Paulson's credit, he wasn't a bad Donatello.
No, he wasn't.
Personally think he's better as Raphael, but that's just me.
Well, he's a great voice actor.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Jason Biggs would have stayed on as Leonardo if he'd kept his political comments to himself on Twitter.
Mhm.
Oh boy.
I'm not going to repeat. Go on.
But Seth Green killed it as Leo.
Oh yeah.
Especially after what happened in the second season. You know.
Oh
Yeah.
God, yeah.
And he does have more voice experience, doing a lot of stuff with Seth MacFarlane and voicing, let's see, I believe I can't remember his military rank, but he was Joker in Mass Effect 2.
All right.
He was. Yeah, he was.
And the countless stuff he's done on Robot Chicken.
Yes.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, so I think in this case it was probably for the best, because rather than some A or B list celebrity, you're giving a legit voice actor some work.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Against A-listers, it's just, I kind of want to see the voice acting community get more love.
Although, as good as they all are, the best Leo for me is always going to be Cam Clark.
Yeah.
He nailed that. In the same respect, to me, Barry Gordon's always going to be the most definitive animated Donatello. Although, for live action, Corey Feldman. That's the best live action Donnie. Well, with regards to the voice, because I think it was somebody else in the suit. And obviously for Raph, Joe Pesci, especially with how this guttural damn that he would do from the first movie.
A close second would have to be Nolan North, the way he did it in 2007 TMNT.
Yeah.
Raph for me will. I still love Raphael's voice actor in the 2003 series. I don't know. It's just he and the voice actress in total is hold up. Let me get it. Greg Abbey. I don't know what it is, but he brought a Wolverine style voice for Raph.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out there and say that I actually like Sean Astin as Raph. He has like the sass that Raph usually gives. He's like no nonsense bullcrap. It's like you're an idiot. Let me rephrase that. You're an idiot.
As far as Mikey's concerned, best
Bobby Risk.
I was about to say best animated Townsend Coleman, but live action Robbie Rest.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Townsend Coleman.
I mean,
Greg Sykes did pretty damn good as Mikey in the 20 Cell series, and it makes
Yeah,
sense
he did.
since Mikey's the youngest, so it made sense.
yeah.
I also love the 2003 voice actor for him too. Like just the super crazy sass he had, especially one time when Splinter got injured or whatever, and then they were trying to find a doctor, and then Mike was like, "Anybody know a doctor to keep his mouth shut?"
Although I found it interesting when they did the cartoon All Stars to the Rescue, of all the turtles they had in that PSA cartoon special, they have the one turtle that sounds like a stoner. It's just like, do you guys...
I'm like, do you guys know what y'all do? Like, come on. I mean, yeah, it's a kid's property, but we know what he does. Like, kind of like with Shaggy and Scooby Doo.
Oh yeah.
Why do you think he eats a lot?
Yeah.
And then surprisingly looks skinny. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Damn.
Now for Splinter, yeah, interesting. I mean, I still got love for. Did Kevin Clash did the voice for him and
Yes.
the puppetry?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, he's definitely one of my favorites. 2003 was really good. 2012, oh my god, I feel like that for me. I'll still say, aside from the movies, best incarnation of Splinter by far.
And you can never forget the 2007 performance by the late and great Mako,
Yeah.
Right.
aka Uncle Iroh.
He was perfect. He was perfect.
Of course, that was his last performance ever, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Damn.
unfortunately, he passed away from a case of stomach cancer he couldn't recover from.
Jeez.
Ouch.
Well, on the
It's
bright
why-
side, now that. Yeah.
It's why, with the Tales of Bossing Say, it seemed so real because he was actually crying behind the mic because he knew he wasn't going to make it.
Jeez.
I can't even watch that episode. It's like, I'm not crying. You're crying. Shut up. No.
Doesn't help that one of our D&D friends keeps singing that damn song.
I know who you're
Well-
talking about. Why?
Well, on the bright side, now that Avatar: The Last Airbender is on Netflix, it gives a lot of people that never seen the series clarity on why a lot of us love what it brought.
Hmm.
And that there's such great shows that are getting better because, like, Steven Universe, which recently ended, and a really good one that Raph recently recommended to me, called Kipo and the Age of the Wonder Beasts. It's actually not bad.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
That's a really dope show.
The 2004 cartoon.
Hmm.
Yeah, the animation is so pretty.
And the writing is mwah, chef kiss.
Oh yeah.
It teaches lessons without being too preachy.
Right. Yep.
That's always a very, only in my experience, it's such a difficult balance to strike because you're trying to, as you say, teach people, but at the same time you don't want to come across as being not necessarily not necessarily preachy, but you don't want to come across as overbearing or condescending, which is why when everybody says, oh, can you teach me this, I'm like, you don't want me teaching you, I'm not the best teacher, no.
Another show does that too, and it's called Owl City on Disney Channel.
Oh, Owl House?
Owl House. Well,
It's okay, we all have our brain parts.
that shows you how much I haven't seen it in a while, and I'm just waiting for like
I just
newer
remembered
episodes
the
coming
name
out.
of it because I was like, Owl City is the name of a band.
I was about to say the same thing.
Also,
again,
Lids.
All
It
have our
also-
brain
it-
parts.
Also, Lids. It has a Hispanic protagonist.
Yes, go on.
Luz
adorable.
Oceta.
Ooh.
She's adorable, and the main character's design was inspired by Ryoko from Tenchi Muyo.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, hey, that's sick.
Whenever-
Oh, you mean the witch? Oh, you mean the witch Ida, or Ryoko? I mean, or Luz.
Ida, because she has Ryoko's hair, she has the mannerisms of how Ryoko dressed in the non-fan servicey scenes, aka the kind of long dress with the slit on the side.
You know what? That does not surprise me because I see the hair. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Also, you have the adorable king.
Also, whenever somebody says Owl City, all I can think of is When Can I See You Again that they use for Wreck-It Ralph. It's just like, that took me back to a nice little place when that showed up at the end of the movie, and when you actually see the credits done in video game style, never did I think I would ever see this show up in a movie end credits. It just says Sonic the Hedgehog, and then you see Roger Craig Smith. It's just like, oh wow, this is actually happening. I did like the fact that they gave him, more dialogue in the sequel, but the majority of the writing of that sequel,
I feel like it was too misconstrued. It was, aside from the good parts, especially with the Disney princesses and of course Gal Gadot killing it. Yeah, the rest of the movie is kind of like the same old formula, which was unfortunate.
The only time you should do like a similar formula, because I've noticed whenever there's a trilogy, movie 3 has more in common with the first movie, whereas the second movie it's just to expand upon what has been started from the first movie and just build it forward, not regress it. And Sean goes, and a few years later we get a Sonic movie. Never thought we would get said movie, but I walked into the showcase in the middle of February. I'm like, I've got some idea of what I'm walking into. Came out of that theater, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to go in again. And what was so cool as well, when they were doing like showcase cinemas, loyalty card and various other bits and pieces, they actually had Ben Schwartz as Sonic advertising the Showcase Insider reward loyalty program. Like, okay, Sega and Paramount are going, no pun intended, full hog with this. It's like, fair play to them. And I was purposely making a point of, whilst I was watching that movie, it's like I'm looking at my fingers like, do not feed me onion rings or fries. It's just like proceeds to eat onion rings and fries. Fingers, what did I just say? I want to actually enjoy this whilst I'm watching the movie, damn it!
Were they serving chili dogs?
Random did get himself a long hot dog, but I don't think they were serving chili dogs.
Missed opportunity, if you ask me.
Yeah. Same thing by not having replicas of his shoes going on commercial sale. Instead, they only made 5 pairs. I'm like, people, do you not understand that could have made you a fortune? It'd be like if Raiden, like, you know, made a t-shirt that just says, this, like, disagree with me, I backhand you. You know, imagine, like, making a fork load of t-shirts.
Keep that
like
idea.
Yeah. It's just like, you could make a fortune of that. It says no.
No, seriously, keep that idea.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. You get what I mean, though. If you have something that, whereby it could make you a lot of money, you roll with it. You don't just like confine it to just a very limited amount, you know? So
Kind of like... Oh, sorry.
So when they did like, limiting it to 5 shoes, it's just like, nah, I don't know. It just seemed like very ill-advised. And Raiden, I get what you said. It's just trying to think of something, other than, like, here's this L, because I feel like we kind of...
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. It was trying to go along like that. It's like, if you disagree with me, like, saying something stupid, here's this L. That's what I was that's what I was kind of go with. I should have provided better context, my friend. That's my bad.
Oh, no. I was like, that idea you had, I was like, no, seriously, keep that idea, as in, like, that's like, okay, I actually like that.
Okay.
That's how I am on Facebook when it comes to people. Like, okay, you're not gonna tell me what the hell, I will backhand you with more truth.
Just don't do crazy over the top logic like our truth.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah.
And
Well, he's still looking for those ninjas.
and for context, it's not the wrestler himself. It's the material they feed him. But, Wacky Macky, he likes to make R-Truth look like an idiot. It's just like, yeah, Vinny, you do realize that it's kind of inappropriate in this day and age now. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
But, it is what it is. On the subject of wrestling, because this did pop up in my feed on comicbook.com, a certain straight edge superstar has had a little something to say.
Oh boy.
CM Punk doesn't believe The Undertaker's retirement claim. Taker declared in the series finale of The Last Ride that he would not be stepping back inside of a wrestling ring to compete again, effectively retiring nearly 30 full years after his debut. But given how most retirements in pro wrestling don't tend to stick, and the Deadman had debated with retirement numerous times throughout the series, many fans and wrestlers alike weren't buying the claim. One of those wrestlers includes CM Punk, who had somewhat of a rocky relationship with Mark Calloway during his earlier days in WWE, but wound up putting on an excellent bout with him back at WrestleMania 29. He did.
Yeah.
I don't think he's retired. Come on, that's my reaction. There's no way, Punk said while on Good Show with Ben Ennis and JD Bunkus, the WrestlingNews.co for transcript. This is a guy who can and most likely will, in my opinion, at least make an entrance every WrestleMania. You know what I mean? They just did the whole movie match type thing, I like to call it, I'd like to call it on Backstage on Fox. I just feel like he can add some longevity to his career. I don't see him going anywhere. He's a guy who in recent years has gone away and popped back up, so it's just so unceremonious to have the documentary where every episode he retired and then unretired, and then at the end of it he said he retired again. It's part of wrestling now. Terry Funk, Ric Flair, everybody retires and comes back. I think selfishly everybody wants to see him come back. Punk takes about the current wrestling business maybe now far and few between, as Fox recently shut down Backstage production as a weekly news show. The former WWE champion had been a frequent panelist, except whenever Seth Rollins would ever show up, on the show since making his surprise debut in November. In one of his last appearances, Punk called out WWE for writing the Jeff Hardy Sheamus substance abuse storyline, which continued on this week's SmackDown. I'm speaking from experience because I obviously worked with Jeff. He, at that point, back in 2009, when the pair had a storyline regarding substance abuse, was maybe not at a great place both mentally and physically. My thing with this segment and this story is that somebody's sobriety is very fragile and important. So we discussed whether they should or shouldn't do this with Jeff. How about we talk about how maybe Jeff was okay with it, maybe it's his idea, he greenlit it. To me, it's the responsibility of the writers, promoter, whoever, to get in front of them and say, no, we're not doing that to Jeff again. We don't need him to be in that position again. I think cleaning up your life and being sober is something to be proud of, and I think we can champion that in different ways. I think this is the wrong way to go about it. You just don't put him in front of that moving car. I get where Punk is coming from, but here's the thing. Ric Flair has been retired for at least a full good 10 years now. And he's had to retire for just reason because of his health. And also, the man's 70 now. He's, kinda needs to stay away from the ring, other than maybe making the odd few appearances here and there as as a manager or a mouthpiece. But with regards to Taker, he considers the match he had with AJ Styles, with the Boneyard match, as possibly the most perfect moment to retire on. And I don't think what Punk understands is Taker was looking for that perfect way to retire like Shawn did some 10 years ago. Because Shawn Michaels finally had the perfect way he wanted to retire. Personally, I think the WrestleMania 25 match was better, but we've been down that road before. And also, Taker has put things into perspective with what's been going on with the global pandemic, all the injuries that he's accumulated over the years, all the titles he's won, all the people he's put over, all the people he's given the rub, all the matches that he's created and the rivalries and some of the most legendary matches he's had. This man does not need to come back. He has done everything that he's ever needed to do, and I think the way that they ended the last ride with that tribute from George Strait, it was the perfect way for him to go out. I do agree that it should have been in front of an audience, but unfortunately with the times that we're in, that's not possible at this point. But you know, I do you get like there's just a tiny sense of hypocrisy on Punk's part by saying, oh, I don't think he's retired. It's like, you first, sir.
Honestly, Punk will always is going to have backlash for the way he acts. Most of it's justified, most of it's bitter. But in a sense, a lot of people would agree, and I'm one of them. That was just part where I come in and you tell us your thoughts. So that was just a little preview.
Taker has said if he does have to come back in an emergency, he would at least hear Vince out and consider it. But, you know, with all the injuries that he's had, all the processes he has to go through just to get that much more mobility in the ring. And keep in mind, the man turned 55 back in March this year. I don't think he owes the business anything more. I would have preferred at least one more world title reign, but it probably would have had to have been one of those things whereby wins it and then probably vacates it the night after, which that's no title reign for somebody as legendary as Undertaker, but it is what it is. I get where Punk is coming from to a point, but it's like I say, Taker's had a great career. One of the very few superstars to be uninterrupted with his time in WWE, and the only superstar to be 3 decades without jumping ship. No, I think he's genuinely done. He'll surprise me if he does come back after that, you know, that amazing documentary series, but if he does come back, it'll cheapen the effect, if you get my meaning. I think now, let him enjoy his retirement. He wants to spend time with his kids and wants to spend time with Michelle McCool. Taker, I see you. So, I get where Punk is coming from, but I disagree with him. That's that. Raiden, you may resume.
I appreciate the gesture, but I don't believe it. Call me a skeptic, but Taker retiring over a Boneyard match. Yeah, it was a fairly fun match, but without a crowd, that doesn't sit well with Mr. Vincey Pants. He will do whatever it takes to squeeze all of that Undertaker popularity until he's done. All right, that's the way it is. I'm not saying it's right, but knowing Vince, he will do whatever it takes. Yeah, and I've been calling this day one for Taker to retire for years and years and years. But he still keeps coming back. It's the passion, yes. It's not good match quality, and I don't want to hear it from people like, he's still a legend. He's still a legend. Yes, he's still a legend, but at that age, he can't do anything less. So I'm just at a point with this. Like, I'm staying skeptic about this the whole way. Taker retiring, yeah, you did it, but knowing WWE, it ain't gonna last long. And I'm hoping I'm wrong. But like I said, knowing WWE, they'll know some surprises in the stupidest way possible. So that's where I stand. Also, with Punk, like I said before, he has a reputation with people that he's too bitter about the situation. He's too bitter about this. He's too bitter about that. But you know, there are some things he speaks true. It may come off as very dickish, but after what the hell he went through before getting the hell away from there, you get it. So I justify the stuff he says half of the time, but you have to admit he's speaking truth. I don't see Undertaker retiring either. I just see something far worse as far as so. I'm like I said, hope I'm wrong with this, but still I'm gonna be skeptical about this. Undertaker retiring. Yeah, I'll get my time on that for that one.
I will say, just touching upon Punk a moment, the stuff that he went through before he walked out, damn.
Yeah.
But he did the one thing that Austin didn't do. Walked up to McMahon like a man and told him, I'm going home. I'll give the man that. He grew a set, shook the man by the hand, and then walked out. I'm like, alright, I question a lot of things that you do, but I respect the way you went, you know? Probably could have done it a whole lot better. And also, firing him on his wedding day. Really, guys? That's a dick move.
Yeah, how much you want to bet that was Triple H's idea?
Well, you see, I just had to fire him on his wedding day because he went and told me the text message. I love the fact that he impersonates him like that.
I fired him on his wedding day.
Makes you wonder when they did those promos in 2011. It's like, oh gee, I just don't know if he has it. The kid doesn't have what it takes whilst you're in bed with your wife. I'm like,
Ooh, God, yeah.
I think that was a shoe. You could sort of see Triple H go like, boy, do not give me a reason to belt you.
Oh God, just like that one line from that one promo where he says, "This isn't CM Punk talking to Triple H. This is Phil Brooks talking to Paul Levesque." I'm like, okay, this is gonna get awkward.
Yeah. But like I say, the way that they fired him on his wedding day and the fact that they won a $20 million lawsuit as a result.
Mm-hmm.
And then the doctor takes him to court over libel and Punk ends up winning.
Yeah.
Well, from what I understand, I'm not going to go mentioning the Dark's name because not even Punk mentioned him by name, to my understanding. You know, he's just like, no, the guy's lazy. It's like, oh, you're sick. Here's a Z-Pack. And it's just like, Z-Packs don't do anything. And the freaking memes that popped up, I was like, oh, half dead, clear to wrestle. But it's like I said, he goes and says, oh, I don't buy Taker's, I don't buy the fact Taker's retired. I'm just like, you first, sir. Because a lot of us don't buy the fact that he would have retired as well. But it's just like, practice what you preach.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts on it, Lids?
I'm of two minds of it because part of me wants to believe that he's done. It's like he even said in the documentary itself, it's time for the cowboy to ride off into the sunset, and if that's how it's gonna end for him, I say let him have that be the end. But again, the other part of me thinks that they want to squeeze out as much as they can with the Undertaker, and it's like, really, just I don't know. I'm of two minds about it. I think he's gonna retire, but for how long is the question. Whether it be like maybe a year or so from now, or maybe when this whole situation with COVID-19 clears up, or we have a vaccine for it. I don't know. If that's the case, then maybe he'll come back. But if this is the end, let it be the end. Let it be it. Let him be done with it. And with regards to CM Punk, as much as we don't like what he says, most of what he says isn't wrong. He has his points, and he understands how the business works, how it really works, because he went through the bullshit. He understands completely. So I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but again, he does kind of sometimes run his mouth a little bit too much. But again, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
As you say, you get the people that you don't really want to see go with Undertaker, and you get the ones that you'd like to see stayed retired, but they don't know when to take the hint.
Mm-hmm.
Hogan.
Oh boy.
Because before the lockdown, Hogan was training to do one more comeback, and it's just like, no, dude.
Please, no, nobody wants this.
Not even Oni. No, it is true. I do not.
Oh no.
Mind you, Oni didn't even want Hogan to come back just before WrestleMania 30 in 2014, and well, the coverage from season 8 is more than documented because, of all things, that episode of Raw from February 2014, Hogan started the show off, and you just hear Oni just yelling in the back where he goes, Hogan's back! Yeah, but, you know, it's Hogan, lids.
I know.
Yeah. Win?
Seeing as I've been on a hiatus for almost 2 years now, I'm going to keep it short and I'm going to keep it sweet. Only time will tell, really. Maybe he actually does genuinely want to hire. We don't really know this. It's perfectly okay for CM Punk to be skeptical, but at the same time, skepticism is not always accurate. So, just to sum up my answer, only time will tell.
Alrighty. Technically going from one dark figure in a good context, one dark figure to a Dark Knight. Christian Bale wanted as Batman if Michael Keaton's talks fall through. According to rumors, Christian Bale is Warner Brothers' backup plan for The Flash if negotiations with Michael Keaton fall through. Michael Keaton is reportedly in early talks to reprise the role of Bruce Wayne in The Flash along with other DC movies, and a wild new rumor suggests that Warner Brothers is keeping Christian Bale in mind for their plan B. Starring in Tim Burton's Batman in '89 as well as its 1992 sequel Batman Returns, Keaton has been a fan favorite Batman actor for decades, and news of his potential entry into the DCE EU has fans all across the world excited about the prospect. Cue Lids' gif. You wanna get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts! As exciting as this potentiality is, it might be a little premature to pop open the champagne bottle. Keaton has not yet officially signed on with Warner Bros. To play the role, and if the reports are accurate, the two sides are still in the early stages of negotiations. This means there's a chance the deal with Keaton will fall through for one reason or another. Now that the news of Keaton's potential involvement with The Flash has gone viral, fans will be tremendously disappointed if Keaton doesn't appear. But according to the new rumor reported by Jeremy Conrad at DCEU Mythic, Warner Brothers will call upon another fan favorite Batman actor from years past to play the Flashpoint Bruce Wayne. According to Conrad, the plan at Warner Brothers is to debut an older version of Batman from an alternate reality for the upcoming movie, suggesting there's no plan at this time to fall back on Ben Affleck given how popular Keaton still is with Batman fans. It's obvious why he'd still be the first choice to take on the role, and as it could lead to playing this older Bruce Wayne in many other DC movies, the deal could be extremely lucrative for Keaton. Still, if securing Keaton ultimately fails, Conrad says Warner Bros. Will attempt to get Christian Bale to return, which also suggests the studio hasn't actually reached out to the actor about the possibility. Of course, getting Bale to reprise the role of Bruce Wayne might present some challenges on the other side, as Christian Bale would have to be willing to be involved without the direction of Christopher Nolan. After The Dark Knight Rises, Bale had announced that he was finished playing Batman, And when fans called for him to play the role once again for Justice League years later, Bell said there was no chance of it happening in an interview with Entertainment Weekly. It's a torch that should be handed from one actor to another, so I enjoy looking forward to what somebody else will come up with. There's no doubt that many Dark Knight fans would be stoked to see Bale return to the role of Batman just one more time. Even outside of Christopher Nolan's movie universe, no matter how unlikely it might be. It's also clear that people are tremendously excited to see Keaton potentially reprise the role in The Flash. In any case, there's much more anticipation for this movie than ever before. Warner Bros. Will release the movie in theaters on June 2, 2022. Where I stand with this is relatively simple. It's not necessarily a bad thing if we got Bale Bat instead of Keaton Bat back in the fray. Dan says somewhere the random is angrily hissing at the news. The random does not give a damn. I would at least like to see if they could actually get Keaton, or Keats, as Jack Nicholson evidently called him whilst they were filming the first Batman in the UK all those years ago. I don't know. I think Bale, he's only the sort of actor you could use Batman for like a set amount of roles, whereas with Keaton, he's a little bit more versatile. I mean, yes, he worked under the same director as did Christian Bale did with his respective series, but Keaton can work with other people, and to me, Keaton was always the better Batman because he was a figure of the shadows. He didn't do too much talking. He always spoke in a very quiet register, and when he did say something, it meant something. Whereas with Christian Bale's, I found him difficult to take seriously at the time, because I think Random described him whenever he was doing like his over shouting. He sounded, and I quote, a 5-year-old internet tough guy. And it's like when people are like trying to be like that, it's just like, dude, you really want to be intimidating? Talk down in a low register like this with sinister looking eyes. Like, imagine like this: Raiden, I am going to find you. You are going to take this L, and you are going to sit down and watch a whole year's worth of TNA Impact from 2010. Be like, bruh, get away from me! See, that's how you mess with somebody's head. Because if you're just like all shouting, it's like, yeah, it's a little bit unnerving, but it's just like, if somebody's shouting, it's because they've lost control. Whereas somebody who's talking down like this, like, Lydia, I know where you live. I am going to be giving you a whole 3 seasons worth of Keeping Up the Kardashians on a continuous loop. You'd be like, locking up the doors. No.
Like, no, thank you. No, I'm good. Thank you. Good day. Bye-bye.
That'd be like if you knock on Wynn's door and says, Slayers is a terrible anime. Say what?
You shut your damn mouth.
Exactly.
You'll be like, bitch, you're getting the shotgun to the face.
See?
Or like a large cat to the face.
Well, either way you get clawed, so.
Ooh.
And I've been clawed by Rufus on a couple of times. Not recommended.
Youch.
Yeah, there was one time he got me across the center of my big toe.
Oh no.
Now, what it was is, on occasion, we would play with him, like, we'd stick our hand or our foot through the cat flap, and he knew what we were doing. We were just you're just being playful. One time, his claw just went a little too quick and a little too deep, and it's just like, yeah, thanks, Rolf. Love you, buddy, but seriously, sometimes you be a mean little bastard. But then again, it's probably a similar thing for Navi on occasion, where sometimes he plays just a tiny bit too rough.
Mm-hmm. Or he tries to bite the holy hell out of me if he smells another cat on me. Like, I still have a pretty nasty scar on my right hand from when he bit super hard on me because he smelled my sister's previous cat, Professor, on my person. And he wouldn't stop. He made me nervous last night because he wouldn't stop sniffing my hands because I had picked up Luna previously and brought her back to my sister's place.
Ooh.
They can be very territorial. Which is why I'm hoping when I do get things my way, lottery win, nice penthouse apartment, 5 Mustangs. Yes, I'm not petty, I'm not greedy, I just like to have nice little things. Hopefully, Kit, Car, and Cosmo would get along just fine. Because probably the thing I would do is just have like 3 kittens from the same litter, just so that, you know, 2 brothers, 1 sister. That way there's no introduction or bonding to do. It's like, hey, they're already family, so it's just like, that works. Yeah, because apparently the jackpot's gone up to, because it was 115 million last Friday. The jackpot's rolled over to 127 million. So,
Whoa.
this is why I'm glad I book my draws in advance for a whole month. And if I happen to have like spare cash, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna put down an extra lucky draw just to be on the safe side. And they go and ask me, it's like, oh, would you go and you know, announce to the country that you'd won? I'm like, do I look stupid? Don't answer that. Because if you've got that type of moolah, would you go announcing it to the world? No. Because all you're doing when you do stuff like that is you're paying a target on your back. I mean, I'd love to have 127 million in my bank account. Doesn't mean I want people knowing about it. Because all of a sudden you get so many people, it's like, MJ, my best friend. It's like, you haven't spoken to me in 10 years. I know exactly what you're after. Get. Now Raiden, on the other hand, is like, hey Raiden, you want Hey Raiden, do you fancy $5 million? Yeah.
True.
Hey Oni, what? Would you like $5 million and 2 replicas of Hulk Hogan's boots? The $5 million will be just fine. You can keep the Hogan boots. Where, you know, show up at Windsor, I was like, okay, here's $10 million and the keys to a Mustang. Go nuts.
I would need to get my license, but hell yeah.
Whereas, with regards to Lids and Oni, it'd be like, here's to Lids and Oni. Why is this in Lydia's name? Because Lydia's more sensible with the money.
Mm-hmm.
Will I get to have fun? If Lids allows it. I don't like where this is going. It's like, dude, you just got $10 million. This is the part where you say thank.
What you can get.
Yeah. And the Steve's like, here's $3 million, go set up a Jedi school.
Whoa.
Ludo Force.
Oh, that I am. Thank you, I will.
And a wild Paul Heyman suddenly appears dressed as Yoda.
Oh God.
No, don't give them ideas, no!
You get out of here with that shit.
funny. Yeah, the only reason I got that idea one time, during season 6 of RDR, a week or two before, they were having like Miz TV on Monday Night Raw, and this was at the time when Curtis Axel was Paul Heyman's protege, and it just goes, Paul Heyman's, sounds like and looks like Yoda, and then looks to Curtis Axel's like, Luke, you are not your father. I'm like, ooh, because those who don't know, Curtis Axel's father was Mr. Perfect back in the day, and it's just this idea of Paul Heyman sounded like Yoda, and what it leads into is me going off on like one of these like one-man performance, like, bro, Brock, what are we gonna do tonight? Well, Uncle Paul, I was gonna get up on the stage and talk. Hey, no, Brock, this is bad for you. And you just hear L-Man and Oni losing their marbles in the back. It's like, this is so wrong. And Oni's like, oh, could you imagine Paul Heyman with Yoda ears?
Damn it.
And then this is actually where some of the gags would actually originate for season 7, where you hear things like, I want to talk. Like Brock or Curtis Axel were like going to get up on stage like, I want to talk. Here, Oni, no, I have something to say. And Oni's just like, please stop.
So that's where it came from.
Yeah, they just like said something like that, and it's just like, ooh, it's like you've put ideas into my head. I don't think Oni realized that till years later, where where some of that stuff would show up in SmackView. It actually sort of like originated from there. Like, anytime Oni would say like Jobbriller, I thought, well, let's make a quick animated piece with that in the background, or it's a squash. Of course, the ones that wouldn't get used now is Diva Time, or what was the other one? Something like an obligatory Divas match, which there's not been an obligatory Divas match for I don't know how long. Because as the tide was turning around 2013, when AJ was slowly pushing herself up the ranks, because
technically 2014, thanks to Emma and Paige.
The only thing is, I still think to this day Tori Wilson was cheated by fate not to get, the Divas Championship, because it was being made specifically for her. Because, and Liz will probably agree, Tori Wilson is probably one of the greatest female competitors never to have been champion. And where's Liz gone?
I'm still here.
Ah, there you are. Yeah, as I say, Liz would probably agree. Tori is probably one of those greatest female competitors never to have held gold.
I mean, it's true. But as of late, she has been getting on my nerves, considering the fact she's a anti-vaxxer, so no today.
Yeah, but as far as her career is concerned in the ring, like I say, I'm only basing it on that. It's in a similar vein when, before RVD became WWE and ECW champion, he was probably one of the greatest wrestlers never to have been world champion. Then he gets a world title and he pisses it all the way because of a certain visit to Mary Jane. Yeah,
because he got high.
Sorry.
Because he got stopped on the highway, I believe, with Sabu because he had a trunk load of weed in his car, and I'm just like, RVD, you're an idiot. Dan saying, hey MJ, maybe you could use those millions to send me back issues of Sonic Comic my way if I ever get my hands on that type of money, dude. And like I say, if I ever get that type of capital, you know, I wouldn't announce it to the world. And Co92 says, yeah, we have gone way off topic, considering we were talking about Bale coming back as Bats. But then again, Co92, as you know so well, it's not Sunday Night Live if we go off onto a tangent, you know, because it's a relaxed atmosphere.
And it's the weekend.
We're allowed to switch off. And in some places, you're allowed to be weird too. I don't know. I'm not against the idea of Bale coming back as Bats, but I'd rather see Keaton come back. That's where I stand with it. Raiden?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it as long as he doesn't talk like I'm Batman. It's that type stuff. You know, it was better managing. I hope it's not set in stone yet, but hopefully it'll be much better. But I still count, you know, on Michael Keaton still making it. But I say never. So with that, I hope, you know, Bale still taking it. It'll be more refined instead of just too gravelly. So, yeah.
Win, same question.
I wouldn't be too against it if things with Michael Keaton didn't work out for some reason. Just as long as he doesn't do the whole I'm gargling rocks voice again, I think he'll be fine. Because relatively, Bale is a pretty damn decent actor. He was Howl in House Moving Castle. I liked him in American Psycho. I loved him in The Prestige. So it could be a possibility that this may be a good idea if things fall through. Especially if he's willing to do it. As you once said before, don't question a good thing.
No. Steven?
I just put it as a wait and see scenario. I think with filmmaking at the moment, everything's just grinding to a halt with the whole lockdown situation. So just keep ear to the wire, as they say.
Although from what I hear, this month they do actually resume filming of Jurassic World Dominion. So
Ooh.
whether they will get the filming done with the editing to be finished in time for the 28th anniversary of the original movie next year on June 11. Provided there are no interruptions between now and when the movie needs to be completed, because let's be real, we know a second lockdown is coming. It's inevitable because people cannot behave. They say, don't go to the beaches. What do? They all go down to the beaches in thousands. And you know, after like 3 or 4 beers on a Saturday night, nobody's going to practice the safety distance rule. Because
Oh God.
by that point, they don't give a damn.
Yeah. Also, don't get mad when people tell you to put on your mask just because you're like, I can't breathe. Oh, shut up. Suck it up and deal with it or move on.
This is something.
Bother me.
Or
Fucking Karens are saying that like,
Oh, don't.
I can't breathe. I'm like,
No.
is it because you didn't learn to breathe through your nose, sweetie? Mouth breathing bitch.
Wow! Pass the salt!
I wouldn't blame her. There's happened a few things with the situation that I've been wanting to get off my chest. And I don't know if I can contain myself any.
Okay.
Oh, you stupid fucking morons. We're the sheeple for trying to abide by guidelines to slow the spread? No! You guys are selfish assholes! No! Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck the horse you rode in on. Fuck your conspiracy theory blogs where you think you're going to be enslaved for wearing a little piece of cloth for a month or two. Just wear the fucking mask, socially distance, and we can get through this a little faster than slower rather than constant delays. You think this is some weird conspiracy to rob America of its freedoms? No! No, it isn't! Fuck off with that!
Jesus! Fuck!
Yeah!
God. Some of us want to go back to work. Some of us want to go back to normal. And you fuckers are making it more difficult than it needs to be! Just wear the fucking mask!
Yeah!
Damn, Will!
And
God damn!
don't listen to Facebook blogs. Don't listen to loony tinfoil hat wearing YouTube pundits. Don't listen to our president, who is a fucking moron who doesn't know his ass from the hole in the ground. Listen to the doctors, wear the damn masks, and we can get through this faster than slower. Thank you! You selfish, inbred fucks!
What? I didn't leave for 1 second and I hear
Welcome
anger.
to the idiocracy.
Yeah.
Oh, idiocracy.
Bronco.
You know what?
Bronco.
I got something to say too.
Mhm.
When?
Trust me.
When?
Mr. Raiden, you have the floor.
When?
Did I go
Are you
too far?
okay, Win?
When?
No.
Are you okay?
Can I just say something? When?
Yes,
I love you.
I love you too.
Aw.
MJ.
Oh.
Folks, if I ever get to California, it's like, okay, me, you, coffee, now.
Take the time.
You're not wrong,
The
Win.
song goes, shut the fuck up and put on your mask.
And apparently now I've been videos have been creeping on my feed, and now apparently it's 5G that's one of the items from the anti-vax.
Oh, that's been going on for months.
No.
Let's
Going
not
on
leave,
for
no.
months. They think that it's leaking radiation causing a quote-unquote fake virus to rob them of their freedoms. And Bill Gates is twirling his mustache in his ivory tower, laughing evilly as he's making it the evil vaccine with tracking microchips. Seriously, how fucking absurd is that? You have to be out of your mind to believe that.
From all I can say is this:
The
stop
tinfoil
whinging about this whole lockdown. Ugh.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna make myself a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just don't put any alcohol in it.
Also, I might need your help with something.
Hmm?
Uh-huh.
Also,
You'll see.
Oh god, no.
It's times like this with the stupidity of the lockdown, I wish I could just go up to Thunderbird 5 and just like, screw you all, I'm staying up there till this all blows over.
Can you take
or
us
me,
with you?
a friend of mine, she just said, "Can we take a space bridge to Cybertron?" I mean, sure, they have they're having a civil war with each other, but it's more sane than what's going on Earth right now.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. Me and Kaiju recorded a commentary over the first Transformers movie the other night, purely just to, have a fresh perspective before we go into the collab for that review later. Here's the thing we never noticed. After all these years watching that movie, Megatron is actually hanging Cybertronian corpses from the trees in Cybertron. It's like, that is so metal.
Whoa.
And there are like so many things in that movie you couldn't do today. Like certain moments, the way female characters are spoken to.
Oh, yes.
Or one that would not fly today. The way the FBI do that home invasion of Anthony Mackie's character's house. No, you can't do that now. Nope.
Now I'm just thinking about. Now that I'm thinking about it, I just imagine people getting swatted.
Ugh,
That's-
that's a scary thought.
Yeah. Because some people just have to be jerks.
The other one that we kind of call bullshit on. It's the scene near the end of the movie where Sam's holding onto the Allspark, and I just go, it's like, right, let me get this straight. Megatron comes up through the floorboard that's like paper, but the rest of the roof is able to hold and sustain his weight. It's like, no, I'm sorry, I call bullshit on that. Because he's able to come up through the floor onto the roof of that building like it's cardboard, and yet somehow it holds the rest of his weight. It's just like, movie, no. And it's just other bits of that. Notice how it's always sunset in that movie, even at night, because of the orange filter. And also, I think the first movie is with Shia LaBeouf that is least irritating.
Yeah.
Because the other two, couldn't stand him.
Get in Canada, get in Canada, get in Canada.
I know. And also, I don't know what it is about John Turturro's character, but he got worse with each sequel. And here's the thing, in the second movie, I did not need to see him wearing a thong. It's just like, oh, dude, I didn't need to see that. You know, like,
The second movie was just cringe from the start.
yeah.
Lest we try to forget Skids and Mudflap.
Yeah. Yeah, according...
Listen. Yes, they're stereotypical, but did I like them? Yes, for all the wrong reasons.
Michael Bay claims those two characters are supposed to be based on rednecks.
Well, with the gold tattoos, kinda, but the way they spoke, and no disrespect to Tom Kenny, but you could hear it.
Couple of things in there that didn't hasn't aged too well, and Liz will probably agree on this. Number one, the way Megan Fox was dressed in the first movie. This is a character that's supposed to be 17 in the story, and they have her dressed somewhat suggestively, and the amount of times the camera focuses on her ass is just like, no.
Danger.
Also, I don't know how much truth there is.
Kind of reminds me of that 2.5 Men episode where she was in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually brought that up during the recording. I don't know how much truth there is to this, so take this as pure speculation, but word on the wire that went around how she got back into Bay's good graces with his production company. Apparently, she agreed to wash his car whilst wearing only a bikini whilst he filmed it.
Nani?
Yeah, that's evidently what happened. I don't know that for fact, but that's what I've been told on the wire, and I'm like, that better not be true for his sake.
And on that note, I'll just say this. Sorry.
I mean, if she wanted to get back into his good graces, and then I know this is coming from a perspective of logic and reason, a simple written formal apology, that would have been it. But no, to even remotely suggest her, demeaning her by doing that, it's just like, hey, you can't do that today. That's just so not cool. I mean, if it was a thing where she would have to just not only write a formal apology, but, pay like a fine for saying that, because also you said that about me, and, forgetting the fact that Steven Spielberg caught wind of it because of what she said, comparing Michael Bay to a less than savory historical figure, when Spielberg is Jewish. It's just like, shouldn't have said that. Should not have said that. But and the bullshit excuses in the making of for Transformers: Dark of the Moon is Michael Bay says, well, Megan Fox walked onto set one time and she didn't look like Michaela anymore. It's like, oh, that's a whole load of horse shit. It's because she made those controversial comments.
And then wore a Voltron shirt.
Yeah.
Which I kind of found appealing.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Yeah, but it's like I say, there's just certain practices that just wouldn't fly from either actor or director. It was actually, like I say, a fun experience doing a commentary with Kaiju, because it was just a way of just to relax and what have you. Maybe someday I'll upload it just for us to watch as a commentary, but that's 2 hours and 17 minutes of your lives just to be able to get through that, and we're usually burnt out by the time we get to the end of it on a Sunday evening anyhow, so yeah.
Might be something for something to do over the summer when there's no SKLs. Just have a chat and watch it.
Well, we are going to have our downtime at some stage. It's just a question of booking that time, because the summer season, the spring summer season is always our longest, because the winter season goes from September to Christmas, whereas whereas this particular season is always one of the longer pieces. But it's not like with RDR where we would do 3 seasons within 1 year and only have like a 2-week break in between them. Whereas when we started SKL up, when we finished the season, when it ended at Christmas, we would get like a month and a bit off, because that's what we needed. With regards to the spring summer season, I don't know. It depends on what we want to do. It allows me to catch up with a few other projects, because aside from a few projects I've got planned for season 15 of Real Features, because movie theaters open back up, and one of the movies that they're bringing forward for July 17 is Top Gun Maverick. So if I'm able to go to the theater, that actually frees up a little bit of time to get other projects done, because when I go to do the spoiler and spoiler-free reviews, I'm not working with a script. I'm merely working off the thoughts I have from that movie at that specific point. So that would be ready for, say, the beginning of August. And then 2 weeks later, it would be Ghostbusters 3. I'm not calling it Afterlife, because I like to do things with numbers. That's just how I am. Then at the end of August would be the review I'm currently working on, but I just need a few items to come through the mail, just to complete the look and what have you. And then September, dependent on what's in the theater, it would be going into... Because yeah, I've got two plans. I'm either going to do the Terminator retrospectives through broken timelines, or if something comes out in September that catches my eye, then I'll revert to a plan where Terminator gets pushed back till March, and then I'll put, say, whatever's in the movies in September plus a 16th anniversary retrospective of that Thunderbirds movie, because I've got the script written for it. I just need to find time to delegate which ones are going to be voiceovers and which ones are going to be on camera. And if it's a lengthy dialogue, then it's going to be voiceover, because I do better trying to memorize something if it's over a long period of time. Like if you ask somebody to reenact a scene from a movie that you've seen more times than you care to know, then that comes naturally to you because it's something that you know by heart, and you just do it there and then. Whereas having to learn something on the spot real quick, I struggle with that. So what I tend to do, particularly when I'm doing my lines in front of the camera, I'll try and just remember the three core pieces. And what I tend to do is I'll try and do it via the scripted method a couple of times, see if it works. And if like third or fourth time doesn't work, then I'll ad-lib it, but working with at least some form of a pattern to go by, because it's one thing if you have a script in front of you. If you're trying to read it off a piece of paper or off the phone in front of a camera, it looks a little bit insulting to the audience, so I try not to do that.
Speaking of insulting,
Mm-hmm.
I kinda... Wynn's not the only person who has something to get off their chest.
What's up, man?
He wants in on this.
Oh boy.
Neil Druckmann.
Oh fuck. Everybody duck.
You have the absolute nerve to put out Last of Us Part 2 and calling it a masterpiece after seeing all of the spoilers. Fuck you. You have the absolute nerve to put Abby as a main character after what she did to Joel. And sorry if I'm spoiling, but it's basically unspoken.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
You expect me, a known good being, to side with Abby after the shit she did with Joel, even though it was justified with the shit he did in the last game. You are a fucking moron to actually think that justifies everything. Abby is nothing but a crazed lunatic. And yes, what happened to her dad was messed up. But to go on a psychotic tirade to do all that shit, and the shit that happened in the end with Ellie. Go fuck yourself. And speaking of Abby, for all those NPC incels who were coming at poor Laura Bailey, who voiced her, newsflash, you fucking idiots. She was doing her job. Her fucking job. You have no right to come after someone who was doing her job better than. And don't give me that bullshit on that's not how a woman's supposed to look like. Newsflash, you idiot. A lot of women look buff and bulky. So the fact that you said that easily shows you can't even get a woman to smooth your life for you. Don't you dare come after an actress who's doing her job with shit like that. That goes for all of you idiots who think masterpiece. Shut the fuck up. The only reason you're doing that is to give praise to a game that shows a false ass narrative. Neil Druckmann, after what you did, firing that one chick, what was her name?
Amy Hennig.
Thank you. Who actually did a surprisingly decent job with the last game, even though I wasn't really liking it. I respect the story purposes. But no, with Last of Us Part 2, even though I respect a lot of things you can do, like open world, all that jazz, don't you fucking come to me with that story's a masterpiece. Playing a psychopath. And also the sex scene, ooh, you shouldn't have did that. That was cringe personified, you fucking idiot. Neil, hold this L, staple that shit to your forehead, and in the words of Jim Cornette, even though I don't have a good history with the guy, thank you, fuck you, bye.
Oh,
Damn.
If I may interject,
Mm-hmm.
play good cop, at least for the part of Druckmann. But for when I get around to the death threats, I'm going to go on another little tangent. I have some tea to calm me down right after, so you needn't worry. Plus, Navi is nearby. I can always snuggle him.
I'm scared.
I get it. You're proud of your game. That's fine and dandy. But there are various people who disagree with the direction of your game. I hope you take it as criticism, reflect upon it, and try to make a better product down the road, and not come off as simping to pop culture critics that know jack shit about the industry. The gameplay, I will say, looks fantastic. I'm going to rent it because I still believe in the proof in the pudding philosophy. So I'm not going to bash the game in itself. Just reflect upon criticisms that people have given. People seldom like to play as the villain when playing a video game. Unless it's a little bit of fun extra DLC like the Joker and Batman Arkham Asylum. That's perfectly okay. But when they've grown attached to the bond between two characters in a first game, Joel and Ellie, as Joel has become a father figure to her, yes, he made a shitty decision that kind of impacted his fate, but still, that doesn't mean people want to play his killer. People are going to react, they're going to get emotional, because that bond has officially been severed because the father figure had been taken out of the picture. And it would have been the same had it been Ellie who were on the receiving end of the death. People would have preferred to play as Joel throughout the game if that happened. People were hoping to play as Ellie, and not just Ellie through half the game and through the other half Abby. No ill will towards the model or towards Miss Bailey. They did a fantastic job from what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope you take this criticism and you reflect upon it and kind of go back to the days of Naughty Dog that people love. People loved Uncharted. People loved Crash before Microsoft had bought it, and now it's in the hands of Toys for Bob, thank God. And other games like Jak and Daxter. People loved you for those games. The writing was fantastic. The gameplay was extremely fun. Focus on games that everyone will enjoy and not overthink and try to appease one particular extreme or the other. Now, on to controversy with the hate that the voice cast and the model for Abby have received. What the hell is wrong with you people? You threatened a voice actress you threatened Troy Baker just because he enjoyed coming back as Joel. You threatened a mocap model just because she's athletic rather than a walking set of tits and ass. What's your problem? It's fine to not like a game. To each their own. It's fine to like the game and not enjoy a character. Again, to each their own. But to threaten the lives of people who are just doing their jobs to bring the game to life, that is unacceptable. You threatened Laura Bailey and Little Ronan, a defenseless fucking 2-year-old, over a video game. Get help. No sane person goes around spewing death threats of specific assaults, or anything of that ilk. And the fact that you targeted her baby, I'm sorry, that's absolutely fucking disgusting!
They threatened her kid.
Yeah, they threatened
I didn't even know about this.
And if one of take your little threats too far, I hope Travis beats the shit out of you!
Yeah.
That is not okay! It is not okay to threaten the life of people, be they man, woman, child. Unfucking acceptable! We're supposed to be civilized human beings. We should have evolved past this shit. And your needless, petty little acts of nerd rage? This is what keeps perpetuating the stigma we have in the gaming community. This is why people think we're sociopaths. This is why people think we're bigots. This is why people think we're mentally unhinged. Because of people like you. There is a special place in hell for you, and I hope you burn!
Ooh.
Go fuck yourself!
Damn.
Like I said,
Threatening a
the word
baby.
Jim Cornette.
I didn't
Thank
even
you.
know about the
Fuck
threatening
you.
Ronan. I did not know.
Bye.
And they threatened her pets, which pissed me off even more.
Oh hell no!
Why?
What?
Oh,
my
hell no!
God. Okay.
I got.
Can someone bring me something cute before I go mentally? Because I could just rip someone's jaw up right now.
Three,
my
wo-
blood is
without
literally
hesitation.
three words here. I got nothing. I am absolutely flabbergasted.
And also, one of the people that hates her the body type of Abby as a character, well, I guess who?
Who?
Tyrone Magnus. He went on record
Oh
and saying
yeah,
that is not a female body type. I'm like, what? What? I'm sorry,
yeah,
what?
Tyrone, buddy, you're on your own with that
Your
one.
videos,
dude.
but on this one, I have to not only respectfully disagree, but there was one more part that I did want to add for the other haters that were laying it thick in terms of Abby's mocap model. Have you ever seen a woman outside of a fucking porn site?
That's why I said.
People have different preferences and various forms of their respective appetites. A woman is a woman, whether she's fat, whether she's thin. Mind you, I would suggest that they look out for their health and try to better themselves, but I wouldn't go around being an utter bitch about it. So, answer my question. Have you literally ever seen a woman? For this, you can kiss the fattest part of my ass.
Yeah.
That's all.
I've posted
And
a
get-
video to take our minds off the negativity
Good,
before
because
we
I
all
don't,
go mad.
I don't want to be mad. I don't want to be mad no more. I don't, because I feel like punching someone right now.
All I'm gonna say is this. It's one thing.
Sorry for bringing this energy, guys.
It's fine, dude.
I had to
It had
get
to be
that shit
said.
out my chest.
Better to let it out than let it get worse.
Sure.
Yeah.
All I'm gonna
Yeah.
say is this. It is one thing if you constructively disagree with the producers and the engineers of a game, or if you say to a voice actress, I didn't particularly enjoy your performance and that, hope you get better, that's fine. But when you go so far as to not only threaten Laura Bailey's life, but her 2-year-old infant, that is beyond levels of reprehensible, disgusting actions. At that point, you do not have the right nor privilege to call yourself human. If you threaten an infant and their mother, all because you didn't get a game the way that you wanted, turn in your humanity badge, have your head held low, and walk away in shame, because I'm sorry, you cease to be human if you threaten a voice actress and her child.
Yeah.
That's no. You do that, you're no longer human.
Mhm.
And
I don't like this fight. I think it is disgusting. Watch porn, you fucking idiot.
if you don't like the game, do us all a favor. Don't rent it. Don't purchase it. Don't illegally download it. We don't recommend you do that anyway. You don't get things the way you want it. That's called life. Get a fucking helmet.
Yeah.
It's
Also-
reality.
If I may interject once more, try to better your social skills. Maybe you'll get an actual girlfriend. And no, putting on a doll wig and a set of lipstick on your left hand doesn't count.
Oh!
Burn.
Oh, snap!
Yeah.
This ain't American Pie. This ain't American Pie anymore, you idiots.
Mm-hmm.
You people that target a voice actress and her child, you are disgusting beings. And
They're not even human. They're just disgusting creatures.
Creatures who's never seen a woman since Legend of Zelda.
you people are sick. Please go seek help. Then we'll talk again. But until then, get out of my face. Because, like I say, you threaten a woman and her child like that. I'm glad this is on age restriction.
Yeah, I
Screw
admit
you.
I admit I dropped.
For me, that was perfect. It was perfect for me, because you know me, when I go to shoot, I don't miss.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why Oni made the joke that I occasionally turn into Femoni.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
And I become the human embodiment of Akuma.
Whoa. No, you don't want to turn into Akuma, dude. No. I've seen from
Don't worry. It's a little bit. I don't let it corrupt me. That's why I came with the name Shin. You know, Shin Akuma. His most evil, his most darkest form to date. Well, before Oni, but still, that's already been taken.
Because I saw the trailer for one of the Street Fighter 2 animated movies. The stuff that the Dark Hado was doing to Ryu. Ugh.
Oh yeah, from Street Fighter Alpha. Yeah, I've seen it. That was a little tribute because it stuck with me.
Also, to brighten things up, it looks like Steve has a video for us, not to mention while these are reposts. I wanted to do this for Raiden. Have a Navi and have a Luna.
Aww. And just to break up, just to change the subject, anyone here familiar with the films of Ray Harryhausen?
A little
Name rings
bit.
a bell.
I remember seeing. Yeah, his style with clay. I remember his style of claymation is like legendary.
Stop motion. He was well known after being inspired by King Kong to do several stop motion related films, all the way up to the original Clash of the Titans. And last week, I believe it was on Monday, it was his centenary.
Oh wow!
And this guy did a tribute to honor him, including one of his characters from the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, the Cyclops.
Okay.
I think Kaiju would say a bit about him because a lot of his creatures are very famous. In fact, one of the first features he did actually had a creature which inspired Godzilla.
Ooh. Alright, well, I'm at 0 if everyone else is ready, because this does look pretty neat.
Oh, done.
The guy does a lot of stop motion animations, and this one was kind of done in the celebration.
Oh, this I gotta see. Alright, I'm at 0.
Same.
Everybody ready?
Mm-hmm. 3, 2, 1, play. Oh wow.
Whoa!
One of the Titans.
I was speaking.
Oh, that's clever.
Well, yes, you looked big. They put you closer to the camera.
Oh, like this? I like being big.
Oh!
Run.
Okay. This is good, though.
It is. This is impressive work.
Run away, guys. He's gonna kick your asses. Run.
Quick, get small again.
Aww. He's looking out for his buddy.
I am big. It's the pictures that got small.
Damn.
Oh.
That's well done.
In a reference to the film Jason and the Argonauts.
Wow.
Yeah. I can see that. That's pretty cool.
I think I have a video. Just just get a little.
That was done in such a way whereby you couldn't even tell that was stop motion because the frame rate was so smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, real well done.
Petting this cat is logical.
Which I also have a bit of a contribution.
Quick.
There's two. One involving wearing a mask, and then there's this one. We'll always have Paris Picard.
Aw.
Quick question: Is the first one licensed music?
I think it might be.
Yeah.
I'll say it for off. I'll say it for off
The
there.
second
Then.
one's from the actual content creator.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
I'm at 0.
Yeah, because I try to have
Me
the
too.
least amount of copyright claims these days. It's just less irritating.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I try to reassure and do a disclaimer. Hey, this is from the actual content user. Go see their channel,
Yeah.
support them.
Yep.
Just like Team 4-Star, support the official release.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I think I know this guy.
Yeah. The other one I'll link after this, but for everyone at 00,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
all right.
Mhm.
3, 2, 1. Enterprise, engage. Play.
Aww.
Oh yeah, showing the upgrading in picture quality. Oh, that is a difference.
Wow. So many dates.
That's a very
All
young
the
Brent
data.
Spiner.
No.
I wonder if that's where they got the idea of Triforia from.
Oh my god.
There's my girl.
Ah, Dr. Crusher. It's weird how Red looks like Cherry back in the day.
Sort of a brownie red.
Yeah. It's probably just as well they retired the character of Data in Picard because even with the facial makeup on, Brent Spiner can only maintain that look for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it is about Patrick Stewart, but he just doesn't seem to age. Oh, whoa. That is a difference.
Oh my god.
Okay, let me try to find the other.
That was a great
That was
song.
good.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my god,
and
he actually did a song called Karen's Got a Gun. No.
Oh no.
that's not the one I'm going to link, but something similar. And it's not even in a rude context. It's asking you, please. Please, what I'm asking.
Okie dokie.
Very,
All
very
right, just let me know when y'all are at 00.
Yeah, I'm at 0.
At 00.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Please wear a mask. Play.
Not too much to ask. Please wear a mask. COVID is nasty. Please wear a mask. You love your family. Your friends are fantastic. This is not fascist. Please wear a mask. Do you think that threatens your masculinity? Well, not too much to ask. Please wear a mask. COVID is nasty. Please wear a mask. You love your family. Friends are fantastic. It's not fascist. Please wear a mask. Too much to ask. Please wear a mask. COVID is nasty. Please wear a mask. You love your family. Friends are fantastic. It's not fascist. Please wear a mask. Please.
I'm a
Nice.
suppository.
To get the message across.
Pretty good.
And
Yeah.
got one more mask-themed song, if I may, and then I will try not to be too hoggy with all the videos. This one I loved because it has such a swing vibe to it, and I'm all for it. I've been really heavily into electro swing and jazz as of late.
Oh, cool.
Alright, I am at 0.
So am I.
Hang on.
All right, everyone at 0?
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
3,
Mm-hmm.
2, 1. Again, I ask, wear a mask. Play.
It's the 2020 style that's hip, and it's good citizenship. Don't expose your nose, don't give me no lip.
Yeah, it kind of has that old-timey vibe.
New York,
Yeah, it kinda does.
Yeah.
Louisiana, N95 or a bandana. Today's thoughtful woman and man agree to wear a mask. Wear a mask. It's our civic duty. Wear a mask. It's the new kind of beauty. Cover your snoot. Don't be snooty. It's not too much to ask. I wear a mask for protecting you. I hope that you'll protect me too. If we're smart, we'll both get through. Wear a mask. Wear a mask when you're being seen. Wear a mask, 'cause there's no vaccine. Wear a mask for hygiene, and you're way ahead for Halloween.
Oh, that's a good point.
Hmm.
Sing a tisket and a tasket.
I'll be a ninja.
And respectfully we ask it. If you've got a face, then mask it. Wear a mask. It's an easy task. Wear a mask. Just wear a mask.
Damn, that was good. And
Nelson
That's
makes a good
cute.
point. I do feel a
Yeah.
bit like Sub-Zero when I wear a mask.
Same.
I have a heavy-duty one in the mail that'll be here by Tuesday.
Hmm.
awesome.
It's more or less a respirator, but I can at least wear it during the pandemic, and when it dies down, I can at least use it for crafting. Because let's be real here, adhesives for EVA foam and paint stink.
Hmm.
Mm,
And I'd rather not give myself an unintended high.
Mm-hmm.
no, reasonable.
But yes, please, just wear a mask, folks. I only yell at the ones being dumb, but the ones that are reasonable, please, keep yourself and others safe.
Yeah, but you know people.
Let's not. I don't want to go crazy again. I'm trying to just
That's-
calm down.
yeah, that's why-
I think I popped a blood vessel.
Yeah, I think that's why I went PSA style on my little ending message just now.
But to be fair, nothing beats shut the fuck up and wear a mask. Sorry.
Yeah.
I still love that TikTok video. I
Yeah.
seldom subscribe to TikTok, but there are always a few exceptions.
Yep.
Most of the stuff I seem to find on TikTok is whenever I check my Instagram on my old phone because, well, Instagram is now a product of Facebook, and I won't have any connection with that on my current phone. But most of the stuff I get sent through of TikTok is Lana dancing a tiny bit too suggestively. Not that I've got a problem with that as a guy, it's just that WWE is supposed to be PG, and she's not dancing very PG in that. I don't know. And also, I don't know if anybody's seen this one video that's floating around of her going to a chiropractor, getting adjustments done so that she's a little bit more flexible and doesn't have so many injuries carried. It's when she has like certain adjustments done in her shoulders, and she just goes, "What are you feeling, Lana?" She goes, "Oh, I'm feeling everything." I feel like commenting this in the comments, just go, "Lana, do you need a cigarette?" Because it sounded like she was enjoying it a tiny bit too much. I'm just like, I don't think you're meant to enjoy them that much, girl. Just saying.
Oh, found another topic of discussion.
I think we'll probably make it the last one because I'm slowly starting to fade.
Yeah.
And once we're off the air, I'm probably gonna hop off, make some dinner before D&D,
Fair enough.
because we're returning to the main campaign today.
What's this?
Apparently, in a surprise move, Marvel now owns the rights to the Alien and Predator franchises in the comics.
I don't know how to feel about this.
I suddenly get a mental image of a xenomorph with a Karen haircut.
I'm just.
Oh
God.
And
It was supposed to be a funny joke. I didn't mean upset.
and there's the image of the Predator holding up Iron Man's helmet.
No.
That could be interesting.
No.
And the xenomorph, I don't know where that is meant to be.
Is that the Guardians of the Galaxy ship?
Ooh.
Or is that the Star or is that the Millennium
Okay,
Falcon?
that makes sense.
Yeah, I see Star-Lord's Walkman, and I see one of Rocket's guns.
No, don't do it. No.
So, but then again, there is a slight disadvantage to this. Disney are, because let's be honest, you say it's Marvel acquiring it, it's Disney acquiring it. It's Disney acquiring more franchises, so they're beginning to
Consolidate what they own under their own banners.
Yeah.
So wait, if Disney owns Aliens, does that make the Queen a Disney princess?
Let's not even entertain that image, let's.
Too late.
Oh, it's happened. Probably already happened.
There's bound to be fan art of it somewhere.
Please no.
Too late. I'm sorry. I occasionally I can be a gremlin.
Which one?
I assure you, just imagine Gizmo with a bit more of a prankster motif. In other words, adorable but still menacing. Plus, hey, he gets to drive a convertible.
Yay.
I don't know what to make of that. I mean, even if you could, make new movies out of that, how could you make those movies with the same tone and style, knowing that Disney don't do anything above PG-13? And I say that because, well, the Avenger movies don't tend to go any higher than 12, and the highest rated Disney movie to this day was Pirates of the Caribbean 3.
Hmm.
So, I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm not sure what to make of that. Not really being a huge fan of either franchise, although I did I did love the shit out of Razor Fist's review of Predator 2. Good lord, especially when the bit where the Predator is implied to have taken space steroids, and then you can hear the Ultimate Warrior's Titantron music in the background just slowly building up, then just bursting through the door. I'm like, okay, I like that. I like that.
Hmm.
And it's another one of those reviews where Razor just gave no fucks. But then again, I've never known an occasion where he has. Raiden, thoughts?
Well, I hope it works well, because I don't want to go on another rant again when I go balls out crazy, because for the viewers that remember last year's end of year panel when I slaughtered the Predator review, I'm just hoping that doesn't come to that, because Xenomorphs are cool, but I've always been a fan of the Predator race in general. So I hope they get a storyline within Marvel that's real fun to watch without any stupid narratives. So with that, I hope both these franchises get the respect they deserve, because the last couple of years, let's just say they got the short end of the stick.
Yeah, the less we say about the Prometheus movie, the better.
Oh Lord, I saw the dead meat kill count for that, and oh God, man, good thing I never watched those.
I saw that movie on the way back from Los Angeles when I made the interconnecting flight from Detroit. I'm sat there watching it thinking, I chose this over watching Avengers again. I'm just like, let me watch Avengers again. This movie's crap. Here's the thing. I get that Ridley Scott wanted to expand upon the story that he created so many years ago and add depth to it. I get that. But the only actor who seemed to be trying struggling to remember this guy's name now, played Magneto in First Class.
Michael Fassbender?
Yeah, he was the only one who was trying. The rest, they just didn't give a damn. I'm like, well, if you don't give a damn, how do you expect me to? I don't know. Led's thoughts.
I'm a little of two minds about it, considering the fact that both the Alien and the Predator franchise have kind of lost steam as of late. I mean, don't get me wrong, Predator has more of an edge on it than Alien. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't watch an Alien movie because it's been ruined by the Prometheus franchise, where it's like, no, you're doing it wrong.
To be fair, it was already ruined with Alien 3 and Resurrection.
You are not wrong. But to say the least, if whatever they do with it, it'll be interesting. But yeah, I'm not holding my breath.
When?
You know me, the proof in the pudding philosophy. It could be done right, it could go horribly wrong. We'll never know. Marvel bought it, and even if it is a Disney franchise, on occasion they still make some pretty good stuff. And in terms of movies, say what you will about Disney, most of them at least have been pretty good. So if they figure out how to kind of reinvigorate the franchises in an awesome and refreshing way, while not straying too far from their original premise, then hey, cool beans. And it could happen. After all, some of the movies that do come out under the Disney label with Marvel and other properties still have the occasional swear word or two and haven't shied from some of the deaths in their movies, so anything could happen. The thing that would happen is that any decapitations Predator does would be off-screen, at worst.
Yeah.
So, it could be good. Proof? Pudding. Could be tasty. Could be gross.
Yeah.
You never know.
Stephen?
For me, it just seems Disney's trying to consolidate more of the franchises that they own. I mean, originally they were with Dark Horse, but it seems that most of the Dark Horse related franchises are just getting sold off now. In terms of the movies, who's to say they might not just produce them under Fox, seeing as they own that company now?
Yeah, that's true.
Because that might allow them to get away with some stuff that the Disney can't do. But that's just my way of thinking.
You have a point, because before the whole shit show from 2 years ago, Miramax was a thing, and a lot of their movies weren't exactly kid-friendly.
No.
And with Fox, they proved that 80 movies with blood and gore were popular. I mean, Deadpool.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But I reserve my judgment other than that.
And let's not forget Logan.
Oh yes, Logan.
Oh yeah. Quite possibly one of the best movies for a character to bow out on. Personally, I think Logan's death will probably sting more than Tony Stark's death. No disrespect to Stark. He went for the noble sacrifice route, but Logan's death stung hard.
Oh God, yeah.
Especially when before you watched Logan, you saw the character Yukio, and the Wolverine says, "Well, Logan says, how do I die? You'll die with holding your heart." And after that final image, yeah, he was right.
Yeah. Like, well, I think the line was, "You'll die on your back with your heart in your hand." It's like, oh, he's gonna go out violently. Well, technically he did, but he died peacefully, so to speak.
And Daphne Keane, that particular scene, going from, badass daughter to sobbing daughter saying goodbye to her father, is like, there's just some forms of acting you can't teach, and good lord, that was amazing acting from her. But yep, that'll about do it for this week, folks. We're just a little short on energy this week, but hey, it is what it is. Until next week, I have been the Knight, saying good night from the night.
Take care, everybody.
Wash your hands. Make sure. Wash your hands. Hope you guys had a great 4th, and just be great human beings. Okay, that's all I'm asking.
Just put on your mask and be good people.
Wash your hands, wear your mask, stay safe, and don't be an asshole.
Please don't.
Mm-hmm.
Or me and Win will haunt your dreams.
And I will
think
draw
about
on
this
your
before
face a
yourself.
permanent marker, ranging from meanie to tiny little penises. Because I'm a gremlin.
Point of reference. Try to think of others before yourselves, okay?
Yep. See you next week, folks. Have a good week.
Night.
Bye
Take
bye.
care, everyone.
The